All right. After Moonrise took those 2 losses, Nomad wants to try his luck again. And once again going to his loved map, his beloved PvZ map of Knockout. And we're gonna get crawl spawns. I think Nomad's probably gonna just do more of the same. This is kind of the Nomad way. He doesn't really mix things up or do much too different. He tries to be a relatively responsive player. He's just a little bit greedy with his scouting patterns in the beginning. He is going to be cross spawn, which allows him to get second scout. And this is going to be an overpull from Jimin, so... Wow, we're actually double scouting. Nomad's a new man. He really doesn't want to die to anything early. I mean, this is like standard. This is completely standard scouting pattern. But Nomad just doesn't do this very often. But he's going to get that second scout here. Is Nomad. Jimin moving out with his drones. And should turn back around, yeah. So not going to get blocked there because Nomad needs to go into the main to confirm the pull timing. So he's going to see that it's over pull. So he will be able to do his 13-13. And we're going to have a normal opening this time where we get a 12 hatch, or sorry, overpull versus 13-13. So great for Nomad. I say great for Nomad. It's a normal game, which I feel like is good for Nomad considering how all the other games have gone so far. Nomad, usually pretty good at keeping this probe alive. And yeah, gonna be able to get a lot of scouting information. Sorry, I was doing a couple updates there in the King's Challenge. Okay, so yeah, probe gonna just kind of dance around for a little bit. Gonna try to keep an eye on whether or not it's gonna be a lair. Does see that lair starts. So that's good information for Nomad. Knows that it's not gonna be some super fast Hydra bus this time. At least very unlikely. And it's just gonna be this 2 base from Jimin, so gonna be most likely that Muta opener. Could just be as, you know, the typical 5 mutas into a bunch of Hydra Lurker. I think Jimin has, I've mentioned this before, he has a few builds that he does, but that he does really, really well. You don't see a lot of like pivoting from Jimin, so what I expect, and I'm excited to see if I'm wrong or not, if I'm predicting this correctly, this will be 5 muta into a Hydra Lurker contain. It is only off of 2 base, though, actually, which is kind of interesting. So it's going to be 2 base. So the third's going to be a little bit late, but there's no second gas, so it's not a big commitment to mutas or anything like that. Is he about to drop? No, this is going to be a Spire. Yeah, so he's going to drop the Spire here, and Nomad will get to see that. Great job from Nomad. This is kind of what I was talking about. He does such a good job of keeping his probe alive and getting this information. Like, he got in the main and he's kept it alive this entire time. I'm so bad at this. It's one of my, like, many weak points. Link speed is going to finish and finally clear that up, but he got to see the Spire, so he knows exactly what he's playing against. Stargate timing looking pretty solid. Zealot kind of hanging out here in the top. Kind of playing the role of supervisor. Realizes he should probably go be a part of the wall. And is going to do that. Second cannon being made, kind of a strange spot for it. And yeah, Nomad kind of pulled that probe. He's a little bit worried about these speedlings running through, which is a legitimate concern, so... Yeah, gets a little bit of a block there. Second cannon gonna finish up. Citadel on the way for Nomad. And Spire gonna finish. And we see that third and fourth hatchery coming down for Jimin. So we're gonna get those initial mutas into the Hydras. Very typical. Kind of a standard opener so far for Jimin. And you'd like to see 1 cannon per mineral line. Sometimes Nomad tries to skip that a lot. And gotta be very careful coming out with this Corsair, because the fire timing was pretty good for Jimin. You have to be very careful they don't fly into Scourge here. Or really even into the Muta. And is Nomad paying attention? Okay, well, neither player was really watching. But this Corsair might just be dead because these Mutas are going to be out, so it's going to get chased down. I'm really surprised that he committed to it. He should have... I feel like we turn around once we see those Scourge. We need to come back home. So, gonna lose this Corsair for free. Does at least... You know what? I actually like turning around to hit the Scourge. I actually legitimately like that because it's gonna die anyway. 2 cannons in the main, a little bit of overkill. But I guess he's concerned that it's more. He did see the Hydrogen, though. He sees the extra hatchery. I guess he saw the second gas, so maybe he wants to just be really safe here. Cannon the natural, once again, very late, but it's not going to get punished this time. And honestly, maybe the 2 cannons. Not terrible. The placement not really that great, though, because our gas is very exposed. And Jimin, again, is very good with his unit control, so it's very scary to be kind of fighting even slightly outside of cannon range, because he can catch you and punish you very, very quickly. DT comes out, and I believe Jimin saw that, but he's very good about making sure that he has Overlords in position. Gonna take a few shots onto the Mutas here. And just whatever damage Jimin can find. But a Sunken is done with the Overlords here. We'll see if the DT just full commits. It looks like it's going to. But Jimin does notice pretty quickly. Gonna lose just 1 drone. And that's gonna be that for that DT, so... Not a good trade there for Nomad by any means. So great defense from Jimin so far. He's picked off a handful of units. He's lost just 1 drone, I believe. And like maybe 1 or 2 lings. I think it's been 2 lings in total. Yeah. No, okay, just 1. So he's lost 1 ling and 1 drone so far in this game at the 8-minute mark. So great kind of standard defense here from Jimin. And a lot of Scourge actually committed, so this is going to be a big Muta commitment from Jimin. We are up to 5 Sarah. We didn't get that +1 though. We're going to have Storm maybe relatively soon. But this is a huge Mutaflock coming in here with a ton of Scourge. And we're going to need to see a pretty fat Storm in order to stay alive here. But we stormed our own Corsair after taking all the Scourge hits. That was a disaster for Nomad. And these Corsair are just going to get picked off now. They're very softened up. GG gonna be called. And yeah, a little bit of a Muta switch there. Kind of an air switch from Jimin. Even as a spectator, I completely got caught off guard myself. I'm actually skipping this cast. I'm not doing this one. If I turned it on right now, it'd be about a 30-second cast. This is crazy. He's died to the 9-pull all 3 times now.
I feel like viewers love that type of shit.
Yeah, well the problem is, it's just, I was chatting with you guys and I hadn't started casting.
Well, so you just turn it on for the
turn
5-second clip. There's like literally nothing. Yeah. This is all they need to know.
Listen, your call, but that's what I would do. I would turn that shit on right now.
Yeah, maybe I should have.
Is Nomad actually dead?
Yeah,
for sure.
Is.
Yeah.
See you, Nexus. Can't go 13-13 against a 9-pull.
He keeps trying it too.
It's how he plays. If he gets last scout, he does to a 9-pull. This is the Nomad way. Well, I mean, he's gonna defend, but... Okay, well this is better than the last time, and he actually almost... Okay, you know what? I'm gonna cast from here. I should have started casting. I made a mistake.
Good luck.
I was already recording. Maybe I'll just include this. Just chatting. Okay, well, I wasn't gonna cast this one because I thought Nomad was gonna die to a 9-pool because we went 13-13 against close spawn 9-pool. But he actually defended pretty well, and now I'm regretting that I wasn't casting it, but I was still recording, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna include the opening and just kind of the chatter. I was in voice with people, and yeah, I'm just gonna include that part in the beginning. So me saying this probably looks stupid because you'll have already listened to it all and listened to our conversation about it. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do because this game looks like it is gonna actually continue. Nomad did a pretty decent job defending the 9-pool. As you guys saw, you know, he didn't really lose too many probes. He killed all of the lings but one. This cannon placement here will be able to protect her from this ling, so the ling can't really get anything, can get no scouting info. And yeah, we're gonna continue on from a position where a similar game where he went 13-13 against 9-pool. He took a lot more damage and still was kind of playable. So yeah, this game might be somewhat viable here for Nomad. It is going to be a Hydra follow-up from Jimin this time instead of those mutas. And 6 lings going to be parked out here, but not going to be able to do anything into the cannons. And even a 3rd cannon coming down blind from Nomad, which is actually going to be great for what Jimin is doing. And going to be that single Stargate, not double Stargate here from Nomad. And honestly, not that bad looking for Nomad. He's going to get into a strong defensive position potentially. We're going to be starting that Corsair relatively soon, which will be great for gathering info later. The question is, okay, more cannons coming down. So he is actually just kind of metagaming here, is Nomad. And this time he's choosing correctly. So for the first time, it feels like things are going well for Nomad despite the kind of disadvantage opener. Gotta be careful again not to take too much damage on these zealots because they're a very important part of soaking damage for your cannons when that bust comes. And as we see from Jimin, it's just going to be Hydra, Hydra, Hydra from here. This Overlord gonna start to get shot, and I believe that will go down. It's going to be close, actually. Oh, but it's going to get into cannon range, so for sure it's going to go down now. So, yeah, things actually going Nomad's way for once. Would like to see maybe a few more cannons, because this Hydra count is getting a little bit scary. Yeah, additional cannons coming down. And the next big thing is, does our +1 get to finish before the Forge goes down this time? Of course, they're going to fly into the main. Going to see that lair, which is great information, but he's going to see more Hydras coming out still, and the drone count hasn't really been added to just yet. Gotta be careful not to lose this Corsair for free, but he does, not paying attention. Second one flies into Hydras and takes all of its shield damage as well, and a little bit of hull damage, so that's pretty painful for Nomad. But Cannon SimCity looking pretty good. Still just more Hydras, actually, and no more drones from Jimin. So even though we started that layer, okay, now we see some drones finally start to pop here. And there's that scouting ling to kind of check the cannon count. It is at 7 cannons. And is Nomad going to be able to finish his +1? It looks like he should be able to. This is not going down very quickly at all. And a few more drones do pop out now. And a second gas as well. Okay, now some more drones here as well. So this is continuing to drone up. Now we did get our +1. Here comes the additional gateways. And this is going to turn into a lurker contain from Jimin. Here he looks at it with his Corsair, sees drones have been made. Do we cancel some cannons? Would like to see that. There's a cancel. Go ahead and cancel this one too. Wouldn't mind seeing that. We have our storms out as well, so we really don't need the additional cannon. Cancel, cancel, cancel. Not gonna happen. Yeah, I would like to have seen more cancels there, because it is just going to be that contain. Like I said, you got your storm out already. You got a bunch of cannons. You don't really need this much cannon coverage. You're going to have to kill these cannons to start getting out. But I will say, so far, this has been the kind of the best game for Nomad, which is funny because I wasn't going to cast this one. I was like, well, it's just going to be over instantly, so we'll let it go. But this is shaping up to be his best chance. It's still going to be extremely difficult because we do have a contain coming out now for Jimin. His drone count looking pretty solid. And Jimin is just so good at this. So good at this. Extra gateways coming down. We're going up to 7 gateways. Going to be pushing out right as the lurkers finish. The timing less than ideal. Going to storm on top of that lurker and not quite get it. Going to get a decent number of Hydra kills, which is a pretty good start actually. But this drone count from Jimin, I mean, he droned so much. He's going to be macroing like crazy. And the storm count, we are at 4 Templar, which is pretty decent. Gonna have to start killing these cannons off so we can move. Gonna try and run some zealots out, actually. 2 of them were very, very low, so they just die immediately. So he's gonna get 2 kind of half-dead zealots out. Another one gonna be a little bit late. Yeah, gonna come back around here. And now from here, it's just gonna be... Can Nomad efficiently bust out of this lurker contain? We've seen this dance many, many times. It's going to be goons and storms and trying to get value. And this is part of the issue with having this big cannon SimCity. It's just so much easier to clear some of these out, so that we can just move easier. Does clear at least one of them. These 2 zealots, you know, they're basically going to just be running around to try and deny a 4th. That's essentially all they'll be trying to do. I like this. Let's kill as many as we can here. Pretty good storm. Even going to kill an overlord with it. It's actually not bad. This is our overall Templar count's a little bit low, with just 4. Ooh, a little bit of a missed storm there, and every single storm is so precious. That's a nice storm, though, on these Hydras and Lurkers. Jimin's supply actually not ahead. Usually when we see him in this game state, it's ahead in supply. Oh, we're going for drops at the same time. Dude, Jimin is so annoying to play against, man. And was this a Lurker? This might have been Lurkers. And Nomad's not paying attention. He's watching up here. As 2 Lurkers get burrowed in his mineral line, he's not going to be looking. And... oh my god, so many probes. Almost all these probes are going to go down. This is insane damage from this lurker drop. And suddenly what was looking pretty good for Nomad, maybe not good, but, you know, playable. After losing all those probes, it's tough. Very, very tough. But honestly, like, we can stabilize. We just have to get some really good fighting and really good trading from here still. But a lot of lurkers just finished up. A lot more overlords coming over. We're probably going to load up some army potentially here. Alright, a couple more lurkers go down with that storm. And unfortunately, this Templar gonna have a pathing issue. Run into its death. Gonna get 1 cannon throw down here in the middle line, but honestly, kind of a random cannon here as well. Okay, 2 more lurkers picked off. We're just kind of chipping away at the army here. Our 1-1 done for Protoss. Supply looking still pretty decent for Nomad overall, despite losing all these probes. But it's just, a lot of the times this is the hard part about playing against this, is just moving around your natural is very difficult. We do have 3 storms on this high Templar, but see, it's having a hard time getting up there to cast the storms, and that's really what you need is your goons there are there to buffer for your Templar and your storms, not so much for fighting the army head-on. Bit of clumping there from Jimin, but overall still fighting pretty well is Jimin. Nomad not quite going to get out. This Templar going to go down just shy of Storm Energy. We got 1 more Storm left. And then we're probably going to see the Zealots join this fight relatively soon. We're going to have enough energy for 1 Storm here on this guy. And he cast it right away. Great Storm onto these Hydras. And it looks like Nomad's about to bust out. These Zealots are going to join the fight now. And he's going to break this contain. And he's going to break it with a decent bit of mining left. This game is looking very, very promising for Nomad. Jimin now going to lose this position. Nomad going to get onto this high ground and push him back. And this is where Nomad has a choice. Do we just expand? Do we attack? Do we do both? A lot of times you'll see double expansion, but he might go for a bit of a tempo push here is what it looks like he's going to do. But he's going to see that Zerg is potentially on 3 bases still. And when you see that, you can actually just fall back and not commit to this, because we don't have any Storms right now with this army. We have 1 Templar joining with Storm, but we're going to potentially lose 2 of our Templar. 3 of our Templar are going to go down. But Nomad going to keep pushing forward. I do think this is very risky. With 1 Storm left, we're going to need a really, really big Storm. Is he going to find it? It's an okay Storm. And we did finish the +2 attack here on the Hydra, so they're going to be fighting pretty well against these goons. More and more Hydra's going to join the fight. And I'm just a little worried that Nomad's maybe over-pushing when Zerg is just on 3 base. But he's going to get chased off. 1 more Templar going to get picked off on the backside. We have a ton of observers here. But yeah, need to get back to safety. But the important part is that Nomad broke the contain. And from here, Zerg doesn't have a whole lot of options. Looks like Jimin's just going to keep making units and try to maybe rebust the top high ground here. But there's going to be a lot of Templar, a lot of Zealots, just a lot of units. Here's the 4th base now coming down for Jimin. But the 3rd Nexus has finished for Nomad. Okay, it's going to be drop play from Jimin. He's just going to try to commit to some drops and maybe catch Nomad out of position, kind of pull him apart a little bit. So this is going to be the big comeback mechanic here for Jimin is how much damage can we get with this drop? He's going to do this drop to try and pull the army away and then probably do another attack into the 3rd base. But Nomad has a lot of units and a lot of Storm. He just, I think, is going to be out of position here for this. Oh man, is he going to see it? He's going to see it. And he's got a few units running back in time. There's so many lurkers on the high ground here. These Zealots are going to get eaten alive. The Storm's going to be a little bit late here, so a bunch of the Zealots going to go down. I mean, decent Storms on the lurkers to kind of soften them up and kill off a few of them. But in the meantime, we have this big drop coming down, and it looked like the units maybe kind of left, these Zealots did. And I think Nomad kind of over-pushing here when he was in a really, really good position. Good Storm going to clean out some of these Hydras, but there's plenty left over, and I think Nomad just kind of threw the game away. Man, you hate to see that for Nomad, but Jimin going to hold on to his crown just barely.